There is a silent, brutal law of human psychology that you have been violating every single day of your life. It is the law of social dynamics through inadequacy. Look at your life. You wake up, and before you have even drawn your second breath, you have already decided that you are not enough. You have been sold a vision of a higher self, a version of you that is perfectly disciplined, emotionally bulletproof, and financially dominant. You treat your current self like a rough draft, a flawed prototype that needs to be censored, edited, and eventually deleted. You call this self-improvement. You call this ambition. But Alan Watts looked at this modern obsession with becoming and saw it for what it truly was, a state of perpetual postponement. Watts understood that the moment you decide you need to be better, you have inherently signaled to your own biology and to the world around you that your current state is a failure. You have entered the marketplace of life as a beggar, pleading for a version of yourself that does not exist. In the high-status courts of reality, this is a fatal strategic error. If you are always trying to be better, you are projecting a frequency of lack. You are telling the universe that you are fundamentally broken, and the world, being a mirror, will reflect that brokenness back to you in your relationships, your career, and your bank account. The illusion of the I. Alan Watts was a master of deconstructing the person. He reminded us that the word person comes from the Latin persona, meaning a mask. The tragedy of the modern, overwhelmed generation is that you have forgotten you are the actor, and you have become obsessed with the mask. You are trying to polish a ghost. Watts often spoke about the I that you are trying to improve. He asked a simple, devastating question. Who is the one doing the improving? If you are bad, and you are the one trying to make yourself good, how can the result be anything other than a more sophisticated version of bad? It is like a fire trying to burn itself, or a tooth trying to bite itself. It is a biological impossibility. You are exhausted because you are fighting a war against a shadow. You are trying to solve a problem that was created by the very mind trying to solve it. Watts understood that this self you are so desperate to fix is nothing more than a social hallucination, a collection of memories, expectations, and digital noise that you have mistaken for your soul. You are a king who has forgotten his throne because he is too busy trying to fix the cracks in the palace floor. The art of the clutched hand. This brings us to the core of the trap. Watts observed a fundamental glitch in human nature that he called the backwards law. Imagine you are in a dark, deep ocean, struggling to stay afloat. Your instinct is to splash, to kick, to fight the water to keep your head above the surface. But the more you fight the water, the faster you exhaust yourself, and the quicker you sink. The only way to survive is to stop fighting. If you relax, the water, the very thing you were afraid of, will hold you up. Life is that ocean. The more you crave a state of being better, the further it retreats from you. The man who is desperate to look wealthy is the one who smells of poverty. The person who is frantic to be liked is the one everyone avoids. Why? Because the craving for the positive experience is, in itself, a negative experience. Conversely, the acceptance of a negative experience is, in itself, a positive experience. You have been running toward a horizon line for years. You think that once you reach better, you will finally have permission to be happy. But the horizon is a trick of the light. You can walk for 100 years, but you will never stand on it. You are a victim of a psychological Ponzi scheme where your future self is the ultimate scammer, stealing your present peace to pay for a debt that can never be settled. The muddy water principle, the futility of force. We live in an era of the fix. When your car breaks, you take it to a mechanic. When your body breaks, you take it to a doctor. So when your life feels empty, you naturally assume you can fix your mind. You apply the logic of engineering to the liquid nature of your soul. Alan Watts observed this frantic mechanical approach to mental health and described it with a devastating metaphor: the muddy water. Imagine a glass of water filled with silt and mud. You cannot see through it. Your instinct, driven by the anxiety of being stuck, is to reach in with your hands and try to pull the mud out. But the moment you touch the water, you stir the silt. You make the cloudiness worse. You fight the water, and in doing so, you ensure that you will never see the bottom. This is exactly what you are doing when you overthink. Every self-help video you watch, every habit tracker you fill out, and every midnight session of analyzing your failures is a hand stirring the muddy water of your consciousness. You are trying to use the same mind that created the problem to solve the problem. Sir Watts understood that this is like trying to lift yourself up by your own bootstraps. It is a loop of internal sabotage that keeps you trapped in a cycle of effort that yields nothing but exhaustion. Why control is a cage. Watts often spoke about the cosmic joke, the moment when a human being realizes that their greatest strength, their ability to control, is actually their greatest prison. You have been raised in a world that worships control. You are told that if you aren't in control of your emotions, your schedule, and your future, you are a failure. But Watts pointed out that the more you try to control reality, the more you realize that reality is a slippery, wild animal that cannot be tamed. When you try to control your thoughts, you create a split ego. There is the I that is thinking, and the I that is trying to watch the thinking. You become a house divided against itself. This is why you feel so much friction. You are the predator and the prey, the judge and the criminal, all occupying the same skull. The dark strategy here is to realize that the person you are trying to control doesn't even exist. You are a biological process, a flow of energy, a dance, as Watts would call it. By trying to force the dance to go in a straight line, you have stopped the music. You have become a rigid, fearful object in a universe that is fundamentally fluid. The death of authenticity. This desperate need to be better is rooted in a fear of the persona. As we discussed, the person is a mask. In the digital age, we have become master mask makers. We curate our identities, we filter our struggles, and we perform our growth. But Watts saw that the more you identify with the mask, the more you fear the actor underneath. You are terrified that if you stop trying to be better, the world will see the real you, the one who is lazy, fearful, and uncertain. But here is the truth that the architect understands. The actor is the only part of you that is real. The real you isn't a project to be completed. It is a mystery to be lived. When you try to improve your persona, you are just adding more layers of paint to a mask that is already suffocating you. You have mistaken the menu for the meal. You are eating the paper instead of the food. The people who command the most respect in this world, the ones with true, unshakable authority, are the ones who have stopped performing. They have realized that the mask is just a tool, not a home. They have stopped trying to be authentic and have simply become present. They have allowed the muddy water to sit still, and when the water is still, the mud sinks to the bottom of its own accord. Clarity is not something you do, it is something that happens when you stop doing. The ghost in the machine. We have diagnosed the sickness. We have identified the muddy water. Now we enter the realm of the architect's strategy. In a world that is addicted to more productivity, more status, more improvement, the most dangerous thing you can do is to become still. Most people operate like biological vending machines. If the world presses a button labeled insecurity, they output a reaction of overworking. If the world presses a button labeled comparison, they output a reaction of self-hatred. They are predictable, and they are manageable, but Alan Watts understood that true power lies in the ghost protocol. Watts often spoke of Wu Wei, the Chinese concept of non-doing. To the average mind, this sounds like laziness. To the architect, It is the ultimate weapon of social and internal dominance. When you stop trying to be better, you remove the hooks that society uses to pull you. You become a smooth surface. You become a ghost in their machine. Think of a submarine running silent and deep. It doesn't announce its presence with sonar pings and surface noise. It moves through the depths, unbothered by the storms on the surface. When you stop performed improvement, you are running silent. You are conserving the massive amounts of energy that you used to waste on pretending to be someone else. You are no longer a participant in the frantic race of the masses. You are the observer of it, executing the tyrant. To reclaim your throne, you must commit a psychological assassination. You must execute your ideal self. That version of you that you've been chasing, the one who never feels fear, the one who works 20 hours a day, the one who is always perfectly charismatic, is not your friend. He is a tyrant. He is a ghost that haunts your every waking hour, whispering that you are behind, that you are failing, and that you are not enough. As long as that ideal self lives in your mind, you are a slave to a standard that does not exist. Watts saw that this ideal is the primary source of human suffering. It is a yardstick made of smoke. By trying to measure your real, messy, beautiful life against this smoke, you ensure a lifetime of misery. The strategy is simple, but it is cold. Let him die. Stop trying to be the better version of you and start being the real version of you. The real you is sometimes tired. The real you is sometimes anxious. The real you is sometimes completely lost. In the philosophy of Watts, this is not a bug in the system. It is the system itself. By accepting the mess, you destroy the leverage that the world has over you. You cannot shame a man who has already embraced his own shadows. You cannot manipulate a woman who no longer needs to be perfect to feel valuable. When the ideal dies, the master is born. The final perspective. You must undergo a shift in your internal geography. You must stop identifying as the weather and start identifying as the sky. Most people live their lives as the weather. One day they are sunny, productive. The next, they are stormy, depressed. The next, they are cloudy, confused. They spend their entire lives trying to control the clouds, trying to push away the rain, trying to force the sun to shine. It is an exhausting, futile war against nature. Alan Watts wanted you to realize that you are the sky. The sky does not care about the weather. The sky remains obsidian, vast, and silent, whether there is a hurricane or a clear day. The clouds pass through the sky, but they never change the sky. The rain falls within the sky, but the sky does not get wet. When you apply this to your psychology, you reach a state of strategic disdain. When a thought of "I'm not good enough" passes through your mind, you don't fight it. You don't try to fix it with a positive affirmation. You simply observe it as a cloud passing through your sky. Oh look, a cloud of inadequacy. Fascinating. And then, you let it pass. You don't engage. You don't react. You remain the vast, dark, unbothered sky. This is the ultimate authority. This is the radical optimism we promised. It isn't the fake optimism of everything will be fine. It is the cold, hard optimism of I am the space in which everything happens, and therefore, nothing can truly touch me. The end of the dance. Alan Watts often compared life to music. The point of a song is not to rush to the final note. If it were, the fastest conductors would be the best. The point of the song is the music itself while it is playing. You have been treating your life like a journey toward a destination called better. You have been rushing through the notes, hoping that the ending will somehow justify the struggle. But there is no ending. There is no arrival. There is only the dance. The trap of better is finally broken when you realize that you aren't a project to be solved. You are a performance to be enjoyed. The air is thinner up here, in the realm of the architect. The masses will continue to scramble, continue to improve, and continue to die in a state of postponement. But you have stepped off the wheel. You have realized that the muddy water clears only when you leave it alone. You have realized that the mask is not the face. And you have finally understood the greatest secret of Alan Watts. The universe is playing a game of hide and seek with itself, and you are currently it. Stop trying to find yourself. You are already here. Stop trying to be better. You are already the sky. Comment below to lock in the final transformation. The war is over. I am the sky. If you have stayed until the end, you are no longer a student. You are an architect. The journey is a lie. The dance is everything. Subscribe to stay centered in the void.